And this is what made Slabtown Slabtown. This is a slab, and if you look at it end on, you see this is the outside. This was all waste, and so what would happen is the workers in the mills would grab this stuff and they'd build their houses out of it. So it was basically a shanty town for the longest time, made with this really rough material. I'm an Irish descendant that came to Grey County back in 1852. So the family's been here for 174 years in this county. And I've been in and out of this area doing different things. I came up as a teenager or teenager, you know, with parents to visit relatives and that. And so I came up finally in '89 and been here nonstop all the way through. We had a house in Thornbury, and then we got a chance to buy another house out in this famous Slabtown, infamous for some people, but it's the kind of place that you almost have to be invited to come and join this community. It was so discreet. So Slabtown is a little hidden place in the Beaver Valley, and this is what it looks like. It's a bend in the river of the Beaver River just upstream from Clarksburg, Thornbury. And why it was a slab town, because it was a sawmill village. And this is the dam here, and then down here was the mill. This was all the mill pond up here. So in the very early days of the pioneers being here, this was the place where you came to get your wood. And what was important is that when you take a round log and you try to make workable wood out of it, you have to cut off the rounded part, which leaves the center core. Sort of just flat on the inside and sort of rounded with bark on the outside. So it wasn't a fabulous, wonderful place that everybody wanted to live. It was where the poor people lived, and during the time period, it was basically the Irish who lived out there because they were the last immigrants into this area. The last mill went out of operation in the 1950s because there were other more important mills or places in Clarksburg that people could get things done. So there was a man who wanted to start the mill again. His name was George South, and he was the big equipment dealer in Heathcote. He had Massey Ferguson franchise, and everybody knew George South. So he bought the remnants of the mill and the property and had some partners, and they were all going to restart a mill. But it was sort of past the time that you really needed a water-powered mill. So what did he do? He said, well, I own the property, I might as well build a house there. So here's a guy, probably the wealthiest entrepreneur, businessman in the whole valley, moving into the poorest place in the area. And everybody was shocked that he would do this. But they saw this brand new, bungalow was built, and it was like California, mid-century modern. And everybody went, oh my God, There were still shanties and real poor housing all the way up the hill. But George South started the change. And over the years, more and more people would go in and buy a property, tear down the house that was there, and build a much nicer place. So I moved into Slabtown 24 years ago, and within days, a local guy comes down. He's got 50 acres of land at the top of the hill, and he's got all these pieces of rock in his hand. He says, you know all about this Indian stuff. What do you think this stuff is? And I went, oh my God, that's chert. And he says, what the hell is chert? So chert is a white, sharp limestone rock that comes out of the escarpment up around Red Wing. And for 11,000, between 8 and 11,000 years, the indigenous people have been, quarrying this because this became the spear points and then arrowheads, over time. And so when I realized what it was, I called the Royal Ontario Museum, and they came up to walk the land. They wanted to see if this was truly in fact. And what it is if you hold it a certain way, there's a scraper. So if I was cleaning a hide or something, there's the edge. There's a point here if I was going to be making buttonholes, or I won't do it right now, but quite often you can do that and blood will come out. So it was very sharp. And so what the Royal Ontario Museum figured out, that this was a processing site where they were bringing this big chunks of rock down from the escarpment, and the top of the hill in Slabtown was remnants of the glacier, and it was an island in Georgian Bay when the water was so much higher. Well, I know that I have to acknowledge the fact that I'm just a resident on this property that has been lived on for probably 10,000 years. So that's the real deep history of Slabtown. Most people know about the Beaver River Rat Race, which was a huge event that happened from 1963 to about 1984 or something like that. And what it was is in the spring, the water comes up, so that people were challenging each other to go down, at high flood. And then they started making their own boats, and then it got really to be a real local thing about building a boat during the wintertime. And it went huge from just a local event, maybe 1,000 people, to what I heard was 15,000 people would show up on this one particular Saturday and line the riverbanks. And especially, there was like 4 dams they had to go over before they got down to the lake. And not a lot of people survived the Slabtown Dam, because you come over and then there's a cement spillway, and they would just crash down in that tip, and that would be it, And it got out of hand because there was so much alcohol and trashing of, farmers' fences and crops that the local athletic society, which was running this with the Rotary Club, said, this is it. There was an impromptu event, and one person drowned during that, and so that was it. Nobody wanted to be part of this event anymore. But it's mythical in people who are my age, so I'm 74, and maybe anybody from 70 up to 90 or 100 would remember that and have great stories.
Thank you for joining us. If this story resonated with you, the journey doesn't have to end here. Please visit our online exhibits to explore the communities we just visited in much greater depth. You'll find a collection of original photographs, personal letters, and archival records that bring these voices to life in a way we couldn't capture on screen alone. Next time on Towns of the Blue Mountains.
I think in the early days it was actually bigger than Thornbury. It was the happening place. And there was a lot of industry in Clarksburg because of the water power. So there were 2 big mills there.
And I remember being 16, and Bill Murdoch, who has passed away, he had a band called the Tombstones, and they came down in a hearse. And it really did, and they set up the front stage, and the acoustics were fabulous in the Marsh Street Center. And so those Teen Town dances were fabulous. Everybody went to those.